तू ही मेरी मंजिल है पहचान तुझी से, तू ही मेरी मंजिल है पहचान तुझी से। पहुंचूं मैं जहां भी मेरी बुनियाद रहे तू, पहुंचूं मैं जहां भी मेरी बुनियाद रहे तू।
And for the third Saturday of August 2026, a few stray thoughts, and a few general remarks, and a few points of view, by way of a roundup of the week. All my own musings. Like, let me first wish you all a happy Independence Day and Parsi New Year. Like, we, as a nation, have turned 80. Let's protect our independence at any cost.
तू ही मेरी मंजिल है पहचान तुझी से, तू ही मेरी मंजिल है पहचान तुझी से। पहुंचूं मैं जहां भी मेरी बुनियाद रहे तू, पहुंचूं मैं जहां भी मेरी बुनियाद रहे तू। ऐ वतन मेरे वतन, ऐ वतन मेरे वतन, ऐ वतन वतन मेरे आबाद रहे तू। मैं जहाँ रहूं जहाँ मैं याद रहे तू। ऐ वतन मेरे वतन, ऐ वतन मेरे वतन।
2005 to 2025. The 2 decades that gave the world the smartphone, the recommendation algorithm, and the always-on camera, also returned it to 1978 levels of democracy. Worldwide, 6 billion people now live under autocratic rule, 600 million in liberal democracies, says a report published by VDEM Institute, Democracy Report 2026. The world, as usual, would be happy to categorize India as an electoral autocracy. Let's evaluate the democratic principles that define a liberal democracy and evaluate Indian democracy in the background of 1. Regular elections held throughout the country. 2. Our judiciary. 3. Our parliament and the conduct of the elected representatives. 4. Governance at central and state levels and rank our democracy ourselves. The electoral principle of democracy embodies the core value of making rulers responsive to citizens through periodic elections and polyarchy. The liberal principle of democracy embodies the intrinsic value of constitutionally protected civil liberties, strong rule of law, and effective checks and balances that limit the use of executive power. The participatory principle of democracy embodies the values of direct rule and active participation by citizens in all political processes, including civil society organizations and other forms of both non-electoral and electoral mechanisms of direct democracy. The deliberative principle of democracy enshrines the core value that political decisions in pursuit of the public good should be informed by a process characterized by respectful and reason-based dialogue at all levels, rather than by emotional appeals, solidary attachments, parochial interests, or coercion. The egalitarian principle of democracy holds that ideally, all groups should enjoy equal de jure and de facto capabilities to participate, to serve in positions of political power, to put issues on the agenda, and to influence policy making. The majoritarian principle of democracy reflects the belief that a majority of the people must be capacitated to rule and implement their will in terms of policy. The consensual principle of democracy emphasizes that a majority must not disregard political minorities, and that there is an inherent value in the representation of groups with divergent interests and view. Let's evaluate the democratic principles of the Indian democracy in the background of elections held throughout the country, our judiciary, our parliament and the conduct of the elected representatives, governance at central and state levels and rank our democracy ourselves. America celebrates August 15th. When America celebrates August 15th, India's Independence Day is getting a little more official recognition in America. Delaware has become the third U.S. state this year to recognize August 15th as India Day. It joins New York and New Jersey in marking India's 80th Independence Day through official proclamations. Delaware Governor Matt Meyer praised the state's Indian American community for its contributions to business, education, and public life. New Jersey Governor Mikey Sherrill highlighted Indian Americans' role in healthcare, research, education, and technology. New York Governor Kathy Hochul also recognized the community's cultural, economic, and civic contributions. The celebrations go beyond government paperwork. In previous years, landmarks including the Empire State Building and Seattle's Space Needle have been lit in the colors of the Indian flag on August 15th. India may be 8,000 miles away. But for a growing American community, August 15th is increasingly a day worth marking at home.
Vande Mataram will be sung for the first time from the Red Fort ramparts during the Independence Day ceremony this year. More than 27,000 dignitaries, visitors and students will stand as the national song is played. The ceremony will mark 150 years of Vande Mataram, with NCC cadets and My Bharat volunteers forming its name on Gyan Path.
15 अगस्त आजादी की 80वीं सालगिरह। वो तारीख है जब हर भारतीय का सिर गर्व से ऊंचा हो जाता है। दिल्ली का ऐतिहासिक लाल किला, तिरंगे की शान और देशभक्ति से सराबोर 140 करोड़ देशवासी। लेकिन इस बार स्वतंत्रता दिवस समारोह वैसा नहीं होगा जैसा अब तक होता आया है। अब की बार एक ऐतिहासिक बदलाव होने जा रहा है। ऐसा पहली बार होगा जब लाल किले की प्राचीर से वंदे मातरम गूंजेगा। इस साल यानी 2026 में वंदे मातरम के 150 साल पूरे हो रहे हैं। इसी खास मौके पर स्वतंत्रता संग्राम के दौरान करोड़ों भारतीयों को प्रेरणा देने वाले इस अमर गीत को स्वतंत्रता दिवस समारोह का हिस्सा बनाया गया है। हमेशा की तरह प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी के लाल किले पहुंचने के साथ ही समारोह की शुरुआत होगी। प्रधानमंत्री के आगमन पर वंदे मातरम का गायन होगा जो पहले कभी नहीं हुआ। वंदे मातरम गायन के बाद प्रधानमंत्री राष्ट्रीय ध्वज फहराएंगे, राष्ट्रगान होगा और फिर लाल किले की प्राचीर से प्रधानमंत्री देश को संबोधित करेंगे। यानी इस बार स्वतंत्रता दिवस समारोह की शुरुआत होगी वंदे मातरम से। जिस वंदे मातरम की गूंज इस बार लाल किले से गूंजेगी उसका इतिहास बहुत ही गौरवशाली है। वंदे मातरम की रचना बंकिम चंद्र चट्टोपाध्याय ने 7 नवंबर 1875 को की थी। बाद में ये गीत उनके प्रसिद्ध उपन्यास आनंद मठ में प्रकाशित हुआ। आजादी की लड़ाई के दौरान वंदे मातरम सिर्फ एक गीत नहीं था, बल्कि अंग्रेजी हुकूमत के खिलाफ संघर्ष कर रहे लाखों भारतीयों के लिए जोश, एकता और राष्ट्रभक्ति का प्रतीक बन गया। और अब 150 साल बाद इसी विरासत को लाल किले की प्राचीर से सम्मान दिया जाएगा। स्वतंत्रता दिवस समारोह में वंदे मातरम सिर्फ गाया ही नहीं जाएगा, बल्कि लगभग 2500 एनसीसी कैडेट्स ज्ञान पथ पर वंदे मातरम की आकृति भी बनाएंगे और भारतीय वायुसेना का MI-17 हेलीकॉप्टर वंदे मातरम के 150 वर्ष पूरे होने का संदेश लेकर लाल किले पर मौजूद लोगों पर फूलों की बारिश करेगा। यानी आसमान से फूल बरसेंगे और जमीन पर बनेगी वंदे मातरम की आकृति और लाल किले की प्राचीर से गूंजेगा देशभक्ति का अमर गीत वंदे मातरम।
Yuva Shakti to highlight India's progress. 19 medal-winning students from international science and mathematics Olympiads have been invited to the ceremony. Over 500 Delhi government school students and around 5,000 achievers from different fields will attend as special guests. The Yuva Shakti, leading the journey to Viksit Bharat 2047 theme was planned well before the Jantar Mantar student protests, Defence Secretary Rajesh Kumar Singh said. 2 national anthems. Denmark and New Zealand are the primary countries recognized as having 2 official national anthems of equal status. In 1977, the New Zealand government announced that the national anthems of New Zealand would be the traditional anthem, God Save the Queen, and the poem God Defend New Zealand. From this point on, the 2 anthems have had equal status.
सलामियां दो।
Congress says Sonia Gandhi was asking for a chair for Mallikarjun Kharge. Was it for him to sit during rendition of Vande Mataram? Parliament session washed out. Like whole monsoon session of Parliament was washed out by protests. Isn't this a breach of citizens' privilege? Amit Shah will speak on students' protest, says government amid Parliament logjam. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kiran Rijiju informed the Parliament that the government is ready to discuss all issues related to students and will respond to the points raised by the opposition.
राहुल गांधी जी ने मांग किया था कि होम मिनिस्टर अमित शाह जी को पार्लियामेंट में स्टेटमेंट देना चाहिए छात्र आंदोलन को लेकर के। हमने बहुत साफ कहा, सिर्फ स्टेटमेंट ही नहीं, होम मिनिस्टर अमित शाह जी पूरा डिबेट डिस्कशन का जवाब भी देंगे। और हमने अभी बिजनेस एडवाइजरी कमेटी का बैठक में कह दिया है कि छात्र आंदोलन को लेकर के सरकार पूरी तरह फुल फ्लेज डिस्कशन के लिए तैयार है और एक एक पॉइंट को जवाब देने के लिए तैयार है।
कांग्रेस पार्टी और राहुल गांधी जी पहले दिन से ये मांग कर रहे थे कि गृह मंत्री अमित शाह जी को स्टेटमेंट देना चाहिए। मैं बहुत साफ शब्दों से सरकार की ओर से कहना चाहता हूं, सरकार पूरा छात्र का मामले को लेकर के चर्चा के लिए तैयार है।
अभी रिजिजू जी ने स्टेटमेंट किया कि वो चाहते हैं कि हम अपने एमपी से कहें कि डिस्कशन होना चाहिए। जो अपोजिशन का स्टांस है, 3 मांगे हैं स्टूडेंट्स की। पहली मांग, करप्ट एजुकेशन मिनिस्टर हैज टू गो। सेकंड, जिन लोगों ने स्टूडेंट्स पे आक्रमण किया हमारा उन पर एक्शन, अकाउंटेबिलिटी, और थर्ड, दैट प्राइम मिनिस्टर शुड अपोलोजाइज टू द स्टूडेंट्स. These are the three conditions. We are not going to have any conversation, any discussion before Mr. Pradhan is sacked. That's it.
India's Education Minister, Dharmendra Pradhan resigned. Supreme Court agreed to hear plea alleging police excesses against students protesting at Jantar Mantar. The Supreme Court ordered an independent SIT investigation into violence during the student protest held at Delhi's Jantar Mantar to ensure an impartial probe. FIR cases filed against student protesters was withdrawn. All the students' demands were met. PM said he forgave the students who abused him in the Jantar Mantar rally. But no, Rahul Gandhi has new demands now. Rahul Gandhi's three new demands. 1. Statement by Home Minister on Jantar Mantar incidents. Incidentally, Home Minister has said that he will make a statement and even hold discussion on this issue. 2. PM Modi's apology, which has never been the students' demand in the protest. 3. Ram temple theft, on which Supreme Court has warned against politicizing Ram Mandir fund theft case, saying it is only a case of commission of crime. Rahul Gandhi says that these three are non-negotiables for Parliament to function. Rahul Gandhi has not accepted even the Supreme Court actions, probably in a bid to uphold the Constitution.
हाय फ्रेंड्स, आज तो मन करता है बस आपसे ही बातें करूं. जंतर मंतर पर जो कुछ भी हुआ देश और दुनिया ने देखा है. कुछ शरारती बच्चों ने भद्दी भद्दी गालियां बोली. किसी भी सभ्य समाज को शोभा न दे ऐसे शब्दों का प्रयोग किया गया. मुझे तो गालियां दी गई, मेरी स्वर्गीय माता को भी गालियां दी गई. न जाने कितना भद्दा स्वरूप था. लेकिन मैं आज बात करना चाहता हूं कि बचपन में गलतियां होती हैं और बचपन में गलतियों से सुधरने का अवसर भी होता है, और यही तो बचपना है. और इसलिए मैं समाज के अंदर जो आक्रोश है उसको भली भांति समझ सकता हूं. एक कल्चरल शॉक है कि हमारी बेटियां इस प्रकार की भाषा कैसे बोल सकती हैं. लेकिन समय है इन बच्चों को गले लगा करके राह दिखाने का. एक गुमराह बच्चे हैं, उनको राह दिखाना हमारा काम है. उनको सजा देना, अदालतों के चक्कर कटवाना, समाज में उनको प्रताड़ित करना, इससे हम परिस्थितियां नहीं बदल पाएंगे. मैं उन्हें माफ करना चाहता हूं. समाज भी मेरी इस बात को स्वीकार करे, क्योंकि मेरे मन में एक ही भाव है. कभी कभी दांतों तले हमारी जीभ आ जाती है, खून निकल आता है, लेकिन हम दांत तोड़ते नहीं है, क्योंकि दांत भी हमारे हैं, जीभ भी हमारी है, बच्चे भी हमारे हैं. उन्हें राह दिखाना हमारा काम है. गुमराह को राह दिखाना कठिन होता है, लेकिन कठिन काम हमको करना है. और इसलिए आओ, मैं इन बच्चों को कहता हूं, बच्चों आओ, हम देश के लिए साथ मिलकर के आगे बढ़े.
राहुल गांधी संसद में और देश के नैरेटिव में हर दिन अपना गोल पोस्ट चेंज कर रहे हैं. उनका उद्देश्य संवाद करना नहीं है, बल्कि अराजकता फैलाना है. पहले उन्होंने संसद शुरू होते समय नीट पर चर्चा मांगी. जब हम नीट पर चर्चा के लिए तैयार हुए तो वह राम मंदिर न्यास का विषय उठाकर के ले आए, और उसके बाद फिर गृह मंत्री जंतर मंतर के घटना पर बयान दे, इस बात पर अड़े. देखा जाए तो उनका कोई भी इरादा हाउस को न चलने देने का है. वह नहीं चाहते कि हाउस चले, और इसलिए पिछले 15 दिनों से वो हाउस को, सदन को बाधित कर रहे हैं। गृह मंत्री हर बात का जवाब देने के लिए तैयार हैं और गृह मंत्री आज से नहीं, हमारा एक ही कहना था कि लेट द हाउस फंक्शन, हाउस चले, और हाउस चलेगा तो हम हर विषय पर आपको जवाब देने के लिए तैयार हैं और हमने हमेशा दिया है। हमारा इतिहास इस बात का गवाह है। आपने एसआईआर पर चर्चा मांगी थी, खूब चर्चा हुई और चर्चा के समय जब हम जवाब देने पर आए तो आप भाग गए। आपने प्राइस राइज पर चर्चा मांगी थी, हमने प्राइस राइज पर चर्चा की। जब सरकार जवाब दे रही थी तो कांग्रेस में हिम्मत तक नहीं थी कि वो हाउस में बैठे। ये इनका इतिहास है, ये इनका रिकॉर्ड है। और इसलिए कोई भी विषय हो, जिस विषय पर भी, पॉलिटिकल विषय पर उन्होंने चर्चा मांगी है, हमने उनको हमेशा चर्चा के लिए आमंत्रित किया है और हमने कहा है कि हम तैयार हैं और चर्चा करेंगे।
In Jharkhand, the Council of Ministers of the Hemant Soren-led government has a total of 11 ministers. 6 ministers are from Jharkhand Mukti Morcha, 4 ministers are from Congress, and 1 minister is from the RJD. Students' protest in Jharkhand has now entered the 15th day. Response and action from the Congress Party. Shah offers 24-hour debate. Union Home Minister Amit Shah said he is ready to debate in Parliament and to hear the opposition's concerns on the student protests. Shah said the government had nothing to hide and accused the opposition of blocking a debate by repeatedly disrupting proceedings. He said he was even willing to sit through the night and continue the discussion until 3 p.m. Thursday, subject to the Speaker's approval. Rahul rejects lecture. Rahul Gandhi rejected Shah's offer, saying the opposition wants answers, not a lecture from the Union Home Minister. Rahul questioned who ordered the alleged use of pellet guns and nail-fitted lathis against protesters and demanded accountability. The opposition has continued to press for Shah's statement in Parliament, keeping the student protest crackdown at the centre of the ongoing deadlock. Political lectures in Parliament.
सर, अभिमन्यु को 6 लोगों ने मारा था। उनके नाम द्रोणाचार्य, कर्ण, कृपाचार्य, कृतवर्मा, अश्वत्थामा और शकुनी। सर, आज भी चक्रव्यूह के बीच में 6 लोग हैं। सर, चक्रव्यूह के बिल्कुल सेंटर में, चक्रव्यूह में हजारों लोग होते हैं सर, मगर उसके बिल्कुल सेंटर में 6 लोग कंट्रोल करते हैं। तो जैसे उस टाइम 6 लोग कंट्रोल करते थे, वैसे आज भी 6 लोग कंट्रोल कर रहे हैं। चक्रव्यूह को नरेंद्र मोदी जी, अमित शाह जी, मोहन भगवत जी, अजीत डोभाल जी, अंबानी और अदानी जी कंट्रोल कर रहे हैं।
राहुल जी ने कभी महाभारत, शायद, अब मुझे तो पता नहीं, पढ़ा भी नहीं, पर देखा भी नहीं होगा शायद सर, मुझे लगता है अंकल सैम ने लिख कर दिया होगा, अंकल सोरोस ने लिख के दिया होगा, कहीं से पर्ची बनकर आई होगी और कूल डूड बनने का प्रयास किया होगा। मैं इतना ही कहूंगा, कल जो चक्रव्यूह में घुसाने की बात कर रहे थे, वो कर्ण को करना कह रहे थे, कृपाचार्य जी को कृपचाई बोल रहे थे। चलिए छोड़िए उसको। अध्यक्ष जी, कल तो ऐसा लग रहा था सदन के अंदर महाभारत पर इतना सारा ज्ञान दिया गया कि एक समय ऐसा लगा B.R. चोपड़ा के महाभारत के धारावाहिक का संगीत गूंजने लगा हो।
मार्शल आर्ट की जो फाउंडेशन होती है स्पीकर सर, वो ग्रिप से शुरू होती है। जब हम शुरुआत करते हैं, हम ओपोनेंट पर ग्रिप लेते हैं, ग्रिप लेने की कोशिश करते हैं। ग्रिप नहीं होता है तो कुछ नहीं होता है। ये तो अच्छी बात कह रहे हैं, लेकिन बोला करेगा जिसको थोड़ा सा क्रिएटिव फ्रीडम तो दे दीजिए। तो शुरुआत ग्रिप से होती है सर, और लक्ष्य होता है कि ग्रिप के एकदम आने के बाद चोक में जाए। कि पहले ग्रिप ले, दूसरे ग्रिप ले और फिर एकदम चोक में जाए, चोक में गए पकड़ लिया, और चोक का फोकस गला होता है। तो हम बजट की बात कर रहे हैं थोड़ा, तो फोकस बजट पे ही बात हो रही है, आ रहा हूं। तो राष्ट्रपति के भाषण पे नहीं बोले थे, वो बात भी बोल ले रहे हैं, कोई दिक्कत नहीं। तो पूरा फोकस ग्रिप पे होता है, ग्रिप से लड़ाई शुरू होती है और ग्रिप से हम चौक में जाते हैं। सर, करते हुए जब आदमी के हाथ में चौक आ जाता है, ग्रैपलिंग में जो ओपोनेंट होता है उसकी आंख में दिख जाता है कि बात समझ आ जाती है कि अब मैंने उसको पकड़ लिया है। और होता क्या है सर, वो रिजिस्ट करता है, पहले 2-3 बार ऐसे रिजिस्ट करता है और फिर उसको भी पता लग जाता है कि मैं गया, और फिर वो वहां पे बात खत्म हो जाती है और फिर वो सरेंडर करके इसे टैप कर देता है। सर ये सेंटर पीस है सर मार्शल आर्ट्स का, ग्रिप से चोक और चोक से टैप। और ये आप किसी भी एमएमए वाले से पूछ लो, किसी भी जूडो वाले से पूछ लो, काम ग्रिप से शुरू होता है। सर ग्रिप, स्टूडेंट is someone who has an open mind and an open heart. Student is someone who right from the beginning accepts that they do not know everything. Student accepts that whatever he knows will be superseded later by new knowledge. Student understands that the universe is constantly changing, dynamic, in movement. And so student understands that knowledge is also constantly changing. That the student knows that they do not know the truth. The student respects the truth of all other living beings, all other human beings. Like Gandhiji said in his autobiography, The Search for My Truth. Meaning, this is my truth, your truth might be different. This is another group of people. They are not students. Who are they? Absolutely convinced that they know everything. They believe that the universe is static. And they believe that knowledge emerges from inside them. They believe that they are God. That everything that is to be known is known to them. They are arrogant. They are arrogant. They don't listen. They don't respect other people's truth. So I said, what do you call these people? She said, I call them idiots.
Union Minister for Parliamentary Affairs Kiran Rijiju said Parliament passed 12 bills during the monsoon session, but the government was not satisfied with the quality of discussions. He said that the opposition avoided debates in the House.
मानसून सेशन आज समाप्त हो गए हैं। हम दो तरीके से देखते हैं। बिजनेस के दृष्टि से बहुत अच्छा सेशन रहा। कुल 12 बिल्स हमने पारित किए हैं। चर्चा के दृष्टि से अच्छा नहीं हुआ है। लोकसभा में जितना टाइम आवंटित किया गया है, टोटल टाइम एलोकेशन के हिसाब से सिर्फ 19% हमने प्रोडक्टिविटी की दृष्टि से 19% सक्सेस प्राप्त किया है। राज्यसभा में 39%। राज्यसभा में ऑपोजिशन पार्टी हंगामा करके कभी कभी वॉकआउट भी करते थे, तो बाकी मेजोरिटी पार्टीज एनडीए के और कुछ ऑपोजिशन पार्टी के एमपीज ने डिबेट डिस्कशन में हिस्सा लिया। तो राज्यसभा का टोटल प्रोडक्टिविटी मॉनसून सेशन का 39%, लोकसभा का 19%। एक बिल सिर्फ चर्चा हो पाई लोकसभा में, जो प्रिवेंशन ऑफ अनफेयर मीन्स, एग्जामिनेशन में जो पेपर लीकेजेस का घटना होते हैं, लोग छुप छुप के पेपर बेचते हैं एग्जाम के या खरीदते हैं, या ऐसे कई राज्यों में देश भर में घटना हुए हैं, उसको लेकर के कड़ा कानून जो पारित किया गया है इस सत्र में, वो है पब्लिक एग्जामिनेशन प्रिवेंशन ऑफ अनफेयर मीन्स एक्ट जो बना है। ये लोकसभा में भी डिस्कशन हुए थे और राज्यसभा में भी हुए हैं।
देखिए, आरोप तो कोई बात नहीं, वो कांग्रेस पार्टी और बाकी लोग इस तरह का लगाते रहते हैं। हमारा तो मेन ये है कि जो बिल लिस्टेड है, जो भी बिजनेस हमने पार्लियामेंट में लाया है, वो सबको पास करना है। देश भी तो चलना है ना, देश को चलाने के लिए कानून तो बनाना पड़ेगा, और जो बजट वगैरह या कोई भी महत्वपूर्ण विषय जो भी है पार्लियामेंट में पारित करना पड़ेगा। हंगामा करते रहेंगे और सरकार भी हंगामा के चक्कर में अगर बिल ही पारित नहीं करेंगे तो सदन क्या करेंगे। इसलिए हम तो बिल पारित करते रहेंगे, और हमने आज कहा भी है, बाद में बाहर जाके ये नहीं कहना कि बिना चर्चा के बिल पारित क्यों किया गया है, ये नहीं कहना चाहिए। हमने पर्याप्त समय दिया है। स्पीकर साहब ने कह दिया कि ये रंग बदल बदल के, कपड़े बदल बदल के प्रदर्शन करने का जगह नहीं है, थोड़ा सीरियसनेस दिखाना चाहिए। आप सांसद है तो सांसद की तरह व्यवहार करना चाहिए, नाटक करने का जगह नहीं है। स्पीकर साहब ने कह दिया है, अलग से मुझे कहने का जरूरत नहीं है। मैं ये मानता हूँ कि जो भी राजनीतिक दल बार बार चुनाव हारते हैं तो दूसरों को ढाल बना करके, छात्रों का इशू को ढाल बना करके बार बार संसद को डिस्टर्ब करने का जरूरत नहीं है। मेहनत करेंगे तो जनता आपको समर्थन देंगे, कभी ना कभी समर्थन मिल सकता है। मेहनत करोगे, ऐसे करते रहोगे तो समर्थन कहाँ से मिलेगा। जनता आपको सीरियसली नहीं ले सकते हैं। मैंने आज भी कहा है कि हम समय दे रहे हैं बिल पे चर्चा के लिए, आप आगे आओ। चर्चा नहीं कर रहे थे। कांग्रेस के सीनियर लीडर को मैंने कहा कि आरोप प्रत्यारोप ये एक सीमा तक ठीक है, अब सीमा से बाहर चले गए ये लोग, कोई मतलब नहीं है। और आप कोई आरोप लगाते हैं तो उसका तर्क होना चाहिए ना, कोई आपके पास एविडेंस, कोई पॉइंट होना चाहिए। ऐसा उठ के हवा में बात करते रहते हैं। खैर जो भी हो, हमारा काम है पार्लियामेंट चलाना और बिल पास करना। अगर बिल पास करते समय विपक्ष साथ नहीं देते हैं, अगर वो हिस्सा नहीं लेते हैं, तो बाद में ये नहीं कहना चाहिए कि चर्चा करने का मौका नहीं मिला, पार्लियामेंट में बोलने का मौका नहीं मिला, बिना चर्चा के बिल पारित कर दिया, ऐसा इल्जाम नहीं लगाना चाहिए।
Corruption in judiciary is extremely sensitive and serious matter because judiciary is where people get justice. If there is corruption in judiciary, then it is a serious concern for everybody. That is why Justice Yashwant Verma's case for motion of removal is to be signed by all the political parties. For that, I have already coordinated. I have spoken to all the senior leaders of different political parties. I will also get in touch with some of the single MP parties because I don't want to leave out any member. So it becomes a unified stand of the Parliament of India.
सड़क का काम सड़क पर कीजिए, सदन का काम सदन में। शशि थरूर की विपक्ष को नसीहत।
I've been objecting even within my own party to this tactic, and everyone knows it. It's not something that needs to be hidden anymore. And my line is very simple: सड़क का काम आप सड़क पे कीजिए, सदन का काम आप सदन पे कीजिए। सड़क का काम सदन मत लेके आइए। I mean, it's as simple as that. But there is no problem with all sorts of political demonstrations, dharnas, hartals, gheraos, sloganeering, narebazi, whatever, jantar mantar protests. All those are legal, constitutional, permitted in our democratic framework. But the temple of our democracy is a place where you go for prayer in the form of argument, debate, and reasoned thinking. One of my concerns is it is actually we, the opposition, who benefit the most from Parliament. Why? Because we get to question the ministers during question hour, put them on the spot, challenge them. We are the ones who get to raise our constituency issues under provisions called zero-hour, matters of urgent public importance, Rule 377, and so on, which is necessary for us because we're not in power. The minister doesn't need that. A minister or even a ruling party MP can get his work done because he's in power, his party's in power. The opposition needs to flag these issues and put them on record. We're cheating ourselves of both the question hour principle and the constituency matters or any matters of national importance we wanted to raise. And we are also losing the opportunity to place our views on record on the kind of legislation the government brings to us. So you have to understand, it's not just only for the Samvad for Samvad's sake. This has profound implications. A couple of years ago, a High Court judge said, you brought a case about this particular bill. How am I to understand the legislative intent of the bill when there was no debate in Parliament when it was passed? And he's totally correct. The government has not had a chance to explain why they're bringing the bill, other than this sort of pro forma statement of objects and reasons that is published along with the bill. And the opposition has neither refuted it nor given a counter logic that the government was forced to respond to. You see, the whole assumption behind this kind of disruption is the government will pass the bill anyway because they have the votes. But Vajpayee Sahib, when he was in the opposition in the 1960s, made a famous comment that I've frequently quoted when he said to Mrs. Gandhi, who was Prime Minister in the late 60s, he said, we have the arguments, you have the votes. So the arguments have their place, the votes have their place. There's a lovely old cliche. The opposition must have its say, even if the government will have its way.
Like, senior Congress leader, K.C. Venugopal, has issued a stern warning to Shashi Tharoor. The Parliament debate. Shashi Tharoor exposes Congress and the entire opposition in disruption of the Parliament.
One of my concerns is it is actually we, the opposition, who benefit the most from Parliament. Why? Because we get to question the ministers during question hour, put them on the spot, challenge them. We are the ones who get to raise our constituency issues under provisions called zero-hour, matters of urgent public importance, Rule 377, and so on, which is necessary for us because we're not in power. The minister doesn't need that. A minister or even a ruling party MP can get his work done because he's in power, his party's in power. The opposition needs to flag these issues and put them on record. We're cheating ourselves of both the question hour principle and the constituency matters or any matters of national importance we wanted to raise. And we are also losing the opportunity to place our views on record on the kind of legislation the government brings to us. So you have to understand, it's not just only for the Samvad for Samvad's sake. This has profound implications.
By disrupting Parliament, the opposition is only hurting itself, wasting valuable time and resources instead of using the House to question the government.
Congress MP K.C. Venugopal told Congress leaders following Tharoor's comments, avoid making statements that appease BJP. The Alappuzha MP also talked about Tharoor's reported comments suggesting that Gandhi's Chhatron Ki Guj program had not resonated as much among Gen Z as the CJP protests.
Like, is FCI amendment bill put on back burner by the government under pressure by referring it to Joint Select Committee?
The centre has agreed to send the controversial FCRA Amendment Bill 2026 to a joint parliamentary committee for further scrutiny. The move gives Parliament more time to examine the proposed changes and comes after sustained opposition from political parties as well as concerns raised by minority and Christian organizations. The bill was introduced in the Lok Sabha in March and was originally listed for passage during monsoon session. So what is the government changing and why has it now decided to send the bill to a committee? Well, the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act or FCRA governs how Indian NGOs and associations receive and use foreign donations. The controversial part of the 2026 amendment is the proposed creation of a designated authority. If an organization's FCRA registration is suspended, cancelled or not renewed, this authority would be able to take over, manage or dispose of assets created using foreign contributions. The proposed authority would also have powers similar to those of a civil court and could order the transfer or sale of such assets. This is the provision that has triggered much of the opposition.
Tea Party after Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha were adjourned. Lok Sabha Speaker's Tea Party. The boycott. Key NDIA bloc members, including the Indian National Congress, Trinamool Congress, and Samajwada Party skipped the traditional get-together in Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla's chamber. Attendees: Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, Home Minister Amit Shah, and other senior NDA leaders were present. DMK presence: Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam leader Karnamoja notably attended the gathering, which sparked discussions regarding opposition unity. Rajya Sabha Chairman's Tea Party. Contrast in attendance. Unlike the boycott in the lower house, opposition leaders participated in the upper house tradition. Key figures: Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge and former party chief Sonia Gandhi attended the tea party hosted by Rajya Sabha Chairman C.P. Radhakrishnan. Mocking Modi. Rahul Gandhi, Sandeep Dixit hug each other on stage.
पता नहीं कहां से इनके दिमाग में घुस गया, अब अजीब चीजें घुस जाती है, बट इनके माइंड में घुस गया कि फॉरेन पॉलिसी इज दिस. किसने डाला, कहां से घुसा भाई. फॉरेन पॉलिसी का मतलब इमेजिन द इग्नोरेंस. फॉरेन पॉलिसी. एक चीज पूछ सकता हूं? हाँ. मिलनी समझ के तो नहीं पकड़ा था? I have not reached there yet. But
an act that is indecent, deplorable, crass, sexist, by LOP and Dixit. Like Rahul Gandhi mocking Prime Minister, saying, "I will drive Modi Shah crazy," and with both sides unleashing foul-mouthed tirade against each other, it makes me wonder if we are fit for democracy.
We can drive them crazy. इनको हम मतलब पागल कर देंगे. मैं आपको बता रहा हूं, नरेंद्र मोदी रात को नहीं सोता है. उसके अलग अलग कारण है. उसका एक ऑब्वियस कारण है और उसके बहुत सारे हिडन कारण भी हैं. आपने देखा अमित शाह सो कॉल्ड, क्या कहते थे उसको पहले, चाणक्य, और क्या कहते थे, सरदार पटेल, पाक. Where has he disappeared? वो भाग गया.
Arvind Kejriwal's words. Now, these words have triggered an explosive political attack from the BJP. Arvind Kejriwal was speaking about the CJP protest, and during this interaction that he was having in this particular interview, Arvind Kejriwal said, and I'm going to quote exactly the words that he used. He said, "जो लोग आए थे वो सिर्फ इस्तीफा मांगने नहीं आए थे, वो मोदी जी को ठोकने आए थे." Now, these were the words used by Arvind Kejriwal.
Rahul Gandhi was in very high spirits yesterday. A lot of people argued that mocking the Prime Minister is not a very dignified act. You know what? I agree.
इनका पता नहीं कहां से इनके दिमाग में घुस गया. अब अजीब चीजें घुस जाती है, बट इनके माइंड में घुस गया कि फॉरेन पॉलिसी इज दिस.
Rahul Gandhi has to tell the Indian voters not just why Narendra Modi should be rejected, but why Rahul Gandhi should be chosen. What is his vision of India? What will he do differently? What will Congress government under his leadership mean for an ordinary Indian? And the most important, what is compelling reason to vote for Rahul Gandhi? That is the proposition that he needs to build. So my unsolicited advice to Rahul Gandhi, spend less time mocking Narendra Modi and more time explaining Rahul Gandhi. Because criticism can establish you as an alternative, but only vision can establish you as a clear choice.
And the case to come up. Justice Yashwant Verma judged guilty in Parliament. Lok Sabha panel finds explanations evasive. Lok Sabha Inquiry Committee found Verma's explanation for discovery of unaccounted cash evasive and unsatisfactory. The charges include possession of unexplained cash, interference with material evidence and misleading explanations. The panel said all three charges against the former Allahabad High Court judge were proved.
Bundles, heaps and stacks of burnt currency notes found in a judge's own official residence. That's what a Lok Sabha committee has spent nearly a year investigating, and its findings are now out. The committee looking into allegations against Justice Yashwant Verma, former judge of the Allahabad High Court and Delhi High Court, has concluded that all three articles of charge against him stand proved. The story goes back to March of 2025, when a fire broke out at Justice Verma's official residence at 30 Tughlaq Crescent. In the aftermath, Delhi Fire Services personnel and police reported seeing large quantities of 500 rupee notes in a storeroom on the premises, burnt, half-burnt, wet and scattered. Justice Verma maintained throughout that he had no access to this storeroom since it was detached from the main residence. But the committee found that the sheer scale of currency discovered there in premises that also had a locked liquor cabinet established that he had effective control over this space. The second charge was about evidence preservation, and here the committee did not hold back. The currency was never seized or inventoried, no panchnama was prepared, and the storeroom was not sealed immediately. Cleaning actually happened after the first responders had already left. What stood out to the committee was that Justice Verma stayed in contact with his household staff after the incident, including his private secretary and a household staff member who a witness said were seen cleaning near the storeroom after the fire was put out. The committee was clear that it was not claiming that Justice Verma personally removed the cash, but held that he had failed to secure evidence in premises under his own charge. And on the third charge, the committee noted that Justice Verma's defense kept shifting. He initially denied any unaccounted cash altogether, but over time moved to arguing that notes were never properly seized or even hinting at a possible conspiracy. He did not lead any evidence or list defense witnesses and eventually withdrew from the proceedings after the presenting side had finished. The committee called this explanation evasive, incomplete and misleading in effect. The panel, headed by Supreme Court Justice Arvind Kumar, including senior advocate B.V. Acharya, submitted its report to Speaker Om Birla on May 18th of 2026. Justice Verma, who denied any wrongdoing throughout, had already resigned as a judge on April 10.
You are watching Sanglikar's Weekly. Islamic NATO. More Islamic nations to join Pak-Saudi-Turkey bloc. The Pakistan-Saudi Arabia-Turkey Defense Pact, signed in Mecca, might expand to include more Islamic countries. Middle Eastern nations are lining up as the US fails as a security provider amid Iran's attacks. Is the birth of an Islamic NATO a first sign of a post-American security order in the Middle East?
Has America's decades-old security shield over the Gulf cracked? A new defense pact between Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Pakistan could signal a major shift in the Middle East, one that may reduce Riyadh's dependence on Washington and open the door for China to expand its military influence across the Gulf.
India lags behind in race for fifth-generation fighter jet.
Turkey has just taken another major step in its defense modernization drive. The country's indigenous stealth combat drone has successfully fired weapons from its internal weapons bay for the first time. The latest demonstrations place Turkey among a handful of countries racing to field loyal wingman drones.
Turkey's ambitions to become a major defense power have just received another boost. Bekar's Kizilelma combat drone has successfully completed its first ever live weapon releases from its internal weapons bay, a development that moves the platform closer to becoming a true stealth combat aircraft.
Rolls-Royce and Reliance join hands for AMCA engine.
There is a major development in terms of military aviation, engine making in India. Global engine making giant Rolls-Royce and Indian company Reliance Industries have announced a strategic intent to make an engine for what is called the Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft. The Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft, or the AMCA, is the fifth generation jet which India is making. India wants a 120 kilonewton engine, one of the most powerful engines ever to be built so far. The jet engines around 98 kilonewtons or 105 kilonewtons. This will be a brand new engine to be which India seeks for the AMCA. Now Rolls-Royce has been known as a major partner in making engines for commercial jets, for military jets and all kinds of ships also. Reliance and Rolls-Royce today announced a partnership to develop an indigenous combat development 5th generation advanced medium combat aircraft. Anant Ambani, who is executive director of the Reliance Industries Limited, said India's, I quote, India's strategic autonomy requires a sovereign capability in critical technologies. Our intent with Rolls-Royce is to combine their world-leading expertise in advanced propulsion with Reliance's technology, manufacturing, scale, and execution capabilities.
$114 Rafales for India. The mega fighter deal that could reshape the IAF. Dassault Aviation has submitted its proposal for India's planned acquisition of 114 Rafale fighters in a deal worth 3.25 lakh crore. India plans to assemble 96 aircraft domestically, with indigenous content expected to rise beyond 60% as production matures. The Rafales are expected to bridge the IAF's fighter shortage while indigenous programs, such as Tejas Mk2 and AMCA mature.
इंडियन एयरफोर्स के लिए एक बहुत बड़ी खबर सामने आई है। फ्रांस ने 114 राफेल फाइटर जेट्स के लिए अपना फाइनल टेक्निकल और कमर्शियल प्रपोजल इंडिया को सबमिट कर दिया है। ये डील लगभग 3.25 लाख करोड़ रुपीस की है। सबसे खास बात ये है कि 114 में से 94 राफेल जेट्स इंडिया में ही बनेंगे। डसॉल्ट एविएशन लोकल पार्टनर्स जैसे टाटा के साथ मिलकर इन्हें मैन्युफैक्चर करेगी। बाकी 20 जेट्स डायरेक्टली फ्लाई अवे कंडीशन में फ्रांस से आएंगे ताकि एयरफोर्स की इमीडिएट जरूरत पूरी हो सके। इसमें ट्रांसफर ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ साथ हमारी अपनी अस्त्रा और ब्रह्मोस एनजी जैसी इंडिजीनियस मिसाइल्स की इंटीग्रेशन भी शामिल होगी। इस मेगा डील से इंडिया में हजारों जॉब्स क्रिएट होंगी और एयरफोर्स की स्ट्रेंथ को एक जबरदस्त बूस्ट मिलेगा।
Russia proposes new rail corridor to India.
Russia is exploring a new railroad that could eventually connect with India. The proposed corridor is aimed at creating an alternative to strategically important maritime trade routes and reducing exposure to disruptions around key shipping lanes. The plan could strengthen overland connectivity to Russia and India while supporting faster movement of goods and energy supplies. The proposal comes amid growing concerns over risks affecting major maritime routes, including the Strait of Hormuz. For India and Russia, a new rail connection could open another route for trade, improve supply chain resilience, and deepen economic ties.
You are watching Sanglikar's Weekly. Protests, violence and natural calamities. Why didn't Rahul Gandhi go to Jharkhand? BJP MP asked. Priyanka Gandhi faced NDA protests outside Parliament, with one BJP MP sloganeering with a jab at Rahul. She stopped in her tracks, read the placard and confronted him with a smile.
सवाल ये है कि 20 जुलाई का जिक्र आप कर रहे हैं, जिसको लेकर संसद में भी लगातार विपक्षी पार्टी जो है वो प्रदर्शन कर रही है, कह रही गृह मंत्री आकर के जवाब दे। आज 10 अगस्त को झारखंड में भी एक तस्वीर दिख रही है जहां बैरिकेडिंग की गई, छात्रों को मारा गया, लाठीचार्ज की गई, वहां भी कीलों के जो तार है वो लगाए गए हैं। तो झारखंड के छात्रों के लिए क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
झारखंड के छात्रों के लिए मेरा मैसेज क्लियर है। वी कंडेम एनी वायलेंस अगेंस्ट पीसफुली प्रोटेस्टिंग स्टूडेंट्स। Does not matter where it is happening, we condemn it, we are against it, we do not recommend it, we do not support it. We are very clear, कोई confusion नहीं हमारे माइंड में। तो पीसफुल जब तक प्रोटेस्ट हो रहा है, तब उस प्रोटेस्ट को हिंसा से अटैक करना उसके खिलाफ है।
ये जो राहुल गांधी का दोहरा चरित्र है, जिस तरह से मोदी विरोध की उनकी आग है और जिसमें देश तोड़ने वाले तत्वों के साथ वो हमेशा शामिल रहते हैं, उनके लिए संदेश है कि अपनी दोहरी मानसिकता, दोहरा चरित्र और ये जो विक्षिप्त मानसिकता है इसको बंद करिए। आप छात्रों के साथ आइए, उनको न्याय दिलाइए। आपकी सरकार है, आप केवल प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस है और ट्विटर मत खेलिए। आप में यदि हिम्मत है, हैसियत है और सचमुच आप छात्रों के प्रति हितैषी हैं, तो देवेंद्र नाथ महतो जो कि अनशन कर रहे थे, उनके ऊपर लाठीचार्ज हुआ। इसके आधार पर सरकार से समर्थन वापस लीजिए। आप आइए, जवाब दीजिए और नहीं जवाब देते हैं तो जनता इसका जवाब देगी।
दोहरा मापदंड है, दोहरा मापदंड। राहुल गांधी सदन से भी भाग रहे हैं और झारखंड के बच्चों पर हो रहे लाठी चार्ज पर चुप हैं। देश राहुल गांधी की दोहरी नीति को देख रहा है। राहुल गांधी को सदन में आकर जवाब देना चाहिए।
झारखंड में छात्रों पर हुए अन्याय पर राहुल गांधी जवाब दो। बाकी अमित शाह जी जवाब देंगे। आप राहुल गांधी भागना मत आप लोग, ये हमारी बातें हैं। और राहुल गांधी शर्म करो, झारखंड में छात्रों के ऊपर इतनी बर्बरता हुई है। राहुल गांधी शर्म करो, राहुल गांधी शर्म करो।
One armed person who was having kirpan in his hand, he suddenly attacked on Sukhbir Badalji. He got injured. He got injured, and his hand is having some injury marks also. Immediately, Gurudwara Prabandhan took him to the hospital, SSI hospital, which is a famous hospital in the Nanded. And one person has been detained by the police who attacked Sukhbir Badalji. Actually, his name is not being told by the police, but
Attack on Sukhbir Badal exposes Akali Dal's vulnerability to radical fringe. Radical elements want to occupy space in Punjab's politics, and if the moderate leadership weakens, they gain more room to do so. A Nihang Sikh was taken into custody after an attack on Shiromani Akali Dal chief and former Punjab Deputy Chief Minister Sukhbir Singh Badal at a Gurdwara in Nand, Maharashtra. The incident occurred while Badal was visiting Mata Sahib Gurdwara. The attacker was identified as 62-year-old Jaspal Singh, a Nihang Sikh who had been working as a Sewardar at the Gurdwara in Nand for the past 2 years. Jaspal Singh, a resident of Pune who was reportedly working as an advocate, allegedly approached Badal and tried to stab him in the stomach with a kirpan. He was overpowered and taken into custody soon after the attack, with an investigation underway.
West Bengal Chief Minister Shivendra Adhikari has warned of arrest against those who have been making derogatory remarks against freedom fighter Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. The issue escalated after BJP's own MPs, not one but two, Nagendra Nath Roy, also known as Anant Maharaja, and Shamik Bhattacharya made controversial remarks against the freedom fighter.
ওকে হিরো করার জন্য বলিনি। পশ্চিমবঙ্গের ভারতবর্ষে তো নিশ্চয়ই অন্য প্রদেশও একই ব্যবস্থা নেবে। পশ্চিমবঙ্গের মাটিতে আমি তো পশ্চিমবঙ্গের মুখ্যমন্ত্রী, আমি পশ্চিমবঙ্গের কথা বলতে পারি। পশ্চিমবঙ্গের মাটিতে দাঁড়িয়ে পূজ্যপাত প্রাতঃস্মরণীয় দেশপ্রেমিক, যিনি স্বাধীনতা পাইয়ে দিয়েছেন, নেতাজি সুভাষচন্দ্র বসু সম্পর্কে যারা যেখানে অপমানজনক, অশোভন, কুরুচিকর, আপত্তিজনক যত রকম শব্দ অভিধানে আছে, এই সব খারাপ শব্দ প্রয়োগ করেছেন।
Samik Bhattacharya, during an address on Shyama Prasad Mukherjee, said, and we quote, Shyama Prasad was giving a speech at ND Ali Park. Forward Block's goons pelted stones at him and made him bleed from the wound. Had Mukherjee given any statement to incite the crowd, Forward Block members wouldn't have survived that day. But Shyama Prasad pacified them even while he was bleeding. He had asked people to give a befitting reply in the ballot paper. While West Bengal Chief Minister Shubhendu Adhikari said that no one will be spared, State Minister Swapan Dasgupta, commenting on Nagendranath's remarks, said he's a lunatic claiming to be in BJP.
The West Bengal government annulled the Banga Bibhushan award given to Ananta Maharaj. This action followed remarks he made about Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Chief Minister Shivendu Adhikari had directed police to take stringent action against such comments. The award was previously conferred by Mamata Banerjee in February 2026. Roy is a BJP Rajya Sabha MP and a Rajbanshi community leader. Netaji statue vandalized in Kolkata, day after Bengal Chief Minister's warning over derogatory remarks. In less than 24 hours of West Bengal Chief Minister Shivendu Adhikari issuing a strict warning against anybody making derogatory remarks, and social media posts targeting Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. A statue of the freedom fighter in Kolkata was found allegedly vandalized on Thursday. The incident prompted the police to start an investigation into the matter, a senior officer of Kolkata police said. The right hand of the statue, located near a three-way crossing in South Kolkata's New Alipur area, was found broken, triggering anger among locals and political workers. Like, CJI asked what's wrong in a law college students objecting to CJI attending a function. 450 Hyderabad Law University students oppose CJI's convocation chief guest invite. In a letter to the authorities, the students of the National Academy of Legal Studies and Research University raised concerns over recent judicial developments, particularly Justice Suryakant's handling of a recent hearing concerning alleged police action against protesters during the CJP protest.
Around 70 students from Nalsar's 2026 graduating batch wrote to the Vice Chancellor, asking that the invitation to the Chief Justice of India, Suryakant, as the convocation chief guest be reconsidered. Objecting to CJI Kant as the chief guest, the 2026 batch students cited the Supreme Court's refusal to initiate suo motu proceedings over alleged police brutality during the Sansad Chalo March, as well as CJI Kant's decision not to examine video evidence, saying the court's time should not be wasted. In their letter, the students wrote, "We feel that receiving our degrees from a dignitary whose recent public conduct appears dismissive of serious allegations of police brutality sits uncomfortably with what we have been taught to value during our time at Nalsar." Over the next few days, students from several batches wrote to the administration in similar terms. Amidst all of this, the Bar Council of India stepped in. On 13th August, the BCI directed all state bar councils not to enroll any 2026 graduate from Nalsar University as an advocate until further notice.
एक पीसफुल प्रोटेस्ट करेंगे बार काउंसिल ऑफ इंडिया के ऑफिस के बाहर.
The CJP targeted the BCI chairman and BJP Rajya Sabha MP Manan Mishra. He has led the BCI since November 2014 and was re-elected as its chairman for a record 7th consecutive term in 2025. The council argued that disrespect towards the country's highest judicial office was inconsistent with the values expected from future lawyers. But hours later on August 13, the BCI withdrew the order against the students.
आनंद फानंद में एक आदेश हुआ, लेकिन तुरंत काउंसिल ने रोका, काउंसिल ने उसको विड्रॉ किया.
On August 14, the CJI reacted to it too and rebuked the BCI. "It's a dialogue between the students and me. The BCI action was absolutely unnecessary," he said.
Protests in POK.
At least 20 people have been reportedly killed after Pakistani security forces opened fire on protesters in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, marking the deadliest escalation since the unrest began. Pakistan-occupied Kashmir is witnessing some of its most serious unrest in recent months. Protests have continued across several towns, and now Pakistan's defense minister has made remarks that are drawing widespread attention.
I put the protesters in the same category as India and consider them also as enemies like India.
The disturbing reports emerging from Rawala court are consistent with the Pakistani authorities' long history of unlawful violence against protesters in Jammu and Kashmir. A prompt, independent, and transparent investigation must be ordered into the security forces' use of force against protesters.
Amnesty International has urged Pakistan to immediately restore communication services and allow journalists as well as independent observers to access the region. They also criticized the ban on the Jammu and Kashmir Joint Awami Action Committee, the group that has been leading the election boycott movement.
From enemies to patriotic brothers, Pakistan changes stance on POC protesters ahead of polls. Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif's led PMLN appears to be softening its position towards protesters in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, with a senior government advisor now describing the vast majority of demonstrators as patriotic and saying the party will soon engage with them. Sharif's advisor Rana Sanola said 99% of those associated with the Joint Awami Action Committee, the group leading months of protests in the region, were our patriotic brothers. When the PMLN government will be formed with two-third majority, it will sit with Joint Awami Action Committee representatives. Their first task will be to resolve this issue. Sanola said this at a rally ahead of the third and final phase of elections in POK.
You are watching Sanglikar's Weekly. तीव्र गति से राजनीति. तीव्र गति से राजनीति.
Mayawati says, Akhilesh Yadav is changing colors like a chameleon. Mayawati hits Akhilesh over pandit twist in SP's PDA formula. BSP chief Mayawati attacked the Samajwadi Party, alleging that it was changing its political stance for electoral gains after Akhilesh Yadav suggested that the P in the party's PDA formula could also stand for pandit. Mayawati claimed the move was aimed at attracting Brahmin voters amid growing support for the BSP among upper caste communities.
उत्तर प्रदेश की सियासत में पीडीए को लेकर बयानबाजी तेज हो गई है। बसपा प्रमुख मायावती ने समाजवादी पार्टी और अखिलेश यादव पर जोरदार हमला बोला है। मायावती ने सपा को गिरगिट की तरह रंग बदलने वाली पार्टी बताते हुए आरोप लगाया है कि ब्राह्मण समाज के तेजी से बीएसपी से जुड़ने से समाजवादी पार्टी घबरा गई है। मायावती के मुताबिक जिस पी को सपा अब तक पीडीए में पिछड़ा बताकर प्रचारित करती थी, अब उसी पी को पंडित कहा जा रहा है। उन्होंने इसे सपा की राजनीतिक छल और छलावे की नीति बताया। सवाल है कि क्या पीडीए की ये नई व्यवस्था यूपी में नए सियासी समीकरण का संकेत है?
Like T.G. Mohandas, a right-wing activist, was arrested in Kerala over his remarks over Jantar Mantar agitation.
T.G. Mohandas, my good friend, 71 years of age, Virat Hindustan Sangam. He has been an intrepid warrior for Sanatana Dharma. And he recorded a video where he expressed his thoughts on how the Modi administration could have handled the Jantar Mantar protests better. Well, if you think that there is freedom of speech and if people can badmouth the Prime Minister, the Prime Minister's brother, and all kinds of derogatory stuff and get away with it, what is wrong in what he said? You don't have to agree or disagree with him, but just as you have freedom of speech, so does he. Well, this appears to have been another action of the MMM, the Mullah Matran Marxist nexus that exists in Kerala, where these people were itching to get their hands at T.G. Mohandas, who has been a thorn in their side, whether he was participating in debates or whether he was doing his programs Pulicharitu or Bakipatra. So, whatever it is, the Supreme Court has laid clear guidelines on what to do. But then, Mr. Ramesh Channitala, the Home Minister, Why did he arrest? Well, definitely in my book, I mean, this is my freedom of speech. It is to appease the MMM or 3M lobby. He knows fully well that you can't keep him in jail for too long, yet he goes and does it. Well, my dear man, you're going to get a lot of blowback.
Like, is Umar Khalid's book provocative or divisive? Just asking.
उमर खालिद एक ऐसा नाम है जिस पर भारतीय पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम में बहसें कभी खत्म नहीं होती, लेकिन ना तो आज हम उमर खालिद के पॉलिटिकल व्यूज पे बात करेंगे और ना ही उनके साथ हो रही पॉलिटिक्स के बारे में बात करेंगे। आज मैं आपको बताऊंगी उमर खालिद द्वारा रिकमेंड की हुई कुछ किताबों के बारे में, जिसमें जो पहली किताब है उसका नाम है अंडर कवर माई जर्नी इनटू द डार्कनेस ऑफ हिंदुत्व, जो लिखी है आशीष खेतान ने। इसमें उन्होंने इस बात का जिक्र किया है कि किस तरीके से वो गुजरात में 3 बार अंडर कवर होकर गए और वहां पे हो रही 2002 में एंटी मुस्लिम के खिलाफ जो कॉन्स्पिरेसी थी उसका इस किताब में उन्होंने जिक्र किया है। उसके बाद जो अगली किताब है वो है मुराकामी की मैन विदाउट वुमेन। ये एक बहुत ही फेमस किताब है और इस किताब में मुराकामी ने उन मर्दों की बात करी है जिन्होंने किसी कारण से अपने जीवन में रहने वाली महिलाओं को खो दिया है। अगली किताब है उसका नाम है एट द हैंड्स ऑफ पर्सन अननोन द लिंचिंग ऑफ ब्लैक अमेरिका। लिखी है ये किताब फिलिप ड्री ने। इस किताब में 1880 से लेकर सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर के बीच में जो अमेरिका में ब्लैक लोगों के साथ हुआ, जो हिंसा उनके साथ हुई, उन सबका जिक्र किया गया है। जो अगली किताब है वो है जारा चौधरी की द लकी वंस। ये एक मेमोयर है जो उनकी कहानी कहता है जब वो 16 साल की थी और कहानी है 2002 की गुजरात राइट्स के टाइम पे। तो इसमें उन्होंने लिखा है किस तरीके से कम्युनल वायलेंस होता है, रिलीजियस वायलेंस होता है। ये थी कुछ बढ़िया सी बुक रिकमेंडेशंस उमर खालिद के द्वारा।
एक केस बर्ड जिसका नाम है उमर खालिद, उसने किताब लिखी फ्रैक्चर्ड कम्युनिटीज, सिंहभूम पे है। ऐसा क्यों होता है कि लोग गरीब होते जाते हैं, अट्टालिकाएं खड़ी हो जाती हैं इजारेदारों की, आदिवासी भाई बहन हाशिए पे जा रहे हैं और अट्टालिका बन रही है उन लोगों की जिनका उन आदिवासियों से कोई ताल्लुक नहीं।
Like Trisha Krishnan, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister's girlfriend, watch Tamil Nadu Chief Minister unfurl the national flag on Independence Day. Just informing. Like, Tamil Nadu government promises jobs to kin of Karur tragedy victims, Madras High Court stays it, and now Supreme Court stays Madras High Court's order asking, what's wrong? Confusing.
Big victory for Tamil Nadu's Vijay government as the Supreme Court today stayed the Madras High Court judgment wherein it had quashed the compassionate grounds government job given to the kin of 41 persons who had died in the tragic Karur stampede. The Supreme Court said a stampede happened, 41 persons died very tragically. What is wrong in the government giving succor to the kin of families? What if in some cases if the breadwinner has died, what is wrong in granting a job, government job to his son, his or her son or daughter? Remember, the Madras High Court had stayed the scheme saying that it's violative of Article 14, that is right to equality, and Article 16, equal opportunity in the matters of public.
Like, Air India pilot failing drug test, or a few second mid-air mechanical failure, both are scary, right?
India's biggest aviation scandal by far, Air India flight AI 2379 from Delhi to Phuket is now being investigated as a case of the pilot's medical information. The 300-foot drop and turbulence that injured so many passengers on that flight of August the 4th is now being looked at in a very, very different light, because NDTV has uncovered that the pilot tested positive for marijuana. That's right, a narcotic psychotropic substance. Sources tell NDTV an Air India pilot did smoke marijuana on a regular basis. Sources are also telling NDTV that the Phuket Delhi flight pilot did smoke marijuana, and more tests are now being conducted. This is not conclusively being looked at as a turbulence-related incident that resulted in severe injuries to at least 15 of the 137 passengers that were on board the flight that has now become a viral talking point since August the 4th, after video of the chaos within the cabin became a huge issue in the news and on social media.
Air Force Wing Commander arrested for allegedly leaking sensitive information to Pakistan operative.
An Indian Air Force Wing Commander was arrested in May for allegedly sharing sensitive defense information with a Pakistan-based intelligence operative. According to officials, the officer was allegedly honey-trapped through social media. The officer, who was posted at a field unit on India's Western Front, had started chatting with a woman online. Officials said he was going through a difficult phase in his personal life at the time. What began as online conversations later turned into regular video calls. These interactions raised suspicion within the Indian Air Force. The IAF's intelligence wing began monitoring the officer and later alerted security agencies. Officials alleged that the officer shared sensitive defense-related information with the woman during their interactions. Following a complaint from the Indian Air Force, the Delhi police arrested him on May 30th. He was booked under the Official Secrets Act. Police have completed their investigation and filed a charge sheet before the court on July 30th. The case comes amid increased scrutiny of attempts by Pakistan-based intelligence operatives to target serving personnel through social media and alleged honey trapping. Tata Sons chairman N. Chandrasekaran has announced that he will step down at the end of his current tenure in February 2027. Earlier today, I have communicated to the Tata Sons board that I have decided not to offer myself for reappointment when my term ends on February 20th, 2027. I have asked the board to decide on the succession soon to ensure a proper transition, Mr. Chandrasekaran said in a statement. Stating that he had completed 40 years of professional life at the Tata Group, he said he was grateful for the immensely satisfying opportunity to contribute to the institution. Leading Tata Sons over the past decade has been a great honor and a profound responsibility, he said. The announcement comes after the Tata Sons board failed to reach unanimous support for extending his term. Chandrasekaran joined the Tata Sons board in October 2016 and became chairman in January 2017, taking charge in February 2017 following the removal of Cyrus Mistry. The Sir Dorabji Tata Trust and Sir Ratan Tata Trust had unanimously recommended extending his term for another 5 years. However, the proposal was not carried through at a Tata Sons board meeting in February 2026 after one board member did not support it. Though Mr. Chandrasekaran did not name the dissenting member, it is learnt that Tata Trust chairman and Tata Sons board member Noel Tata did not support his reappointment.
A tale of two Indians, Ambani and Adani.
The Enforcement Directorate has attached Reliance Group Chairman Anil Ambani's Mumbai residence, a board valued at over 3,700 crore rupees under the anti-money laundering law. The move comes a day before Ambani is set to appear before the agency for a second round of questioning in a case linked to alleged bank loan fraud involving Reliance Communications. Located in Mumbai's Pali Hill, the 17-story property was provisionally attached under the PMLA to prevent any sale or transfer during the probe. The Enforcement Directorate claims the asset was routed through a private family trust to shield it from liabilities tied to unpaid loans worth over 40,000 crore rupees. Now, with this action, total attachments in the case have crossed 15,700 crore rupees.
A $265 million bribery case against Gautam Adani in the US has been dismissed, amid reports that Adani offered to invest $10 billion in the country. The case was filed in 2024. A US federal judge dismissed a fraud and bribery case against the Indian billionaire on August 10th, after the Trump administration decided to drop the charges. US prosecutors had accused Adani of being part of a $265 million scheme to bribe Indian officials and secure solar energy contracts. The Adani Group has always denied any wrongdoing. Adani himself has not appeared before a US court to respond to the charges. But there were questions over why the US government decided to drop the case. US media reported that Adani's lawyer, Robert Jufra, who is also Donald Trump's personal lawyer, spoke to Justice Department officials in April. According to the reports, he said Adani would be willing to invest $10 billion in the US economy if the charges were dropped. The judge then asked whether this reported investment offer had anything to do with the government's decision to drop the case. But the court later concluded that the investment offer did not play a role in that decision. Reacting to the dismissal, Adani said he welcomed the US court's decision with humility and deep respect for the judicial process. He also said his faith in truth, fairness, and the rule of law had remained unwavering.
झूठों ने झूठों से कहा है सच बोलो, झूठों ने झूठों से कहा है सच बोलो। सरकारी ऐलान हुआ है, घर के अंदर झूठों की एक मंडी है। घर के अंदर झूठों की एक मंडी है। दरवाजे पर लिखा हुआ है सच बोलो।
Final thought. She didn't roast cockroaches. She exposed the reality of Gen Z and their parents in just 1 minute.
So you are raising an entire generation of ill-informed or misinformed individuals, and that is a national security risk. Consume news from trusted sources. And I meet a lot of people who say, actually I don't watch news, but I saw this on social media. Well, if you don't watch news, the problem is yours, right? In the UK, no, in the UK, by the way, last month, the Education Secretary made a statement which was quite telling, and she said that young people are not reading books, and when we have an entire generation that is not reading books and consuming the information they should be consuming, they fall prey to social media, which is being manipulated. And so you are raising an entire generation of ill-informed or misinformed individuals, and that is a national security risk. So people not being informed is a national security risk for us too.
You are watching Sanglikars Weekly.
Part 2 follows.